Namaste, welcome to Soul Yoga. I'm not feeling that great today, guys, so I really apologize if I seem like a bit off. But at the same time, I still want to shoot and I don't want to have to kind of fake my feelings, but I want to give you kind of a realistic. I want to give you the realism of being a human being when you still have to, like, you've got things to do and you need to get things out there, but you don't feel the best, but you still do them anyway. So that's very much today what's happening now. So namaste, welcome to the Soul of the Soul Yoga. Today I'm going to teach you a technique called Ujjayi pranayama, and it's genuinely one of my favorite pranayams. So, which is breathing practices. So Ujjayi pranayama, I know it as like psychic breath. I've just noticed with different lineages of yoga that they're called different things, but that's what I've been known to it. That's what it's known to me as, like a psychic breath. Okay, so a bit of anatomy and physiology. Actually, I'm going to show you first, and then we'll go into anatomy and physiology a bit. So this is Ujjayi pranayama. So it's a very relaxing and calming thing, and you're probably thinking, what did I just do? So we'll talk through it. So with breathing, the source of your breath is your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is a band that starts here. And when you breathe in, the diaphragm goes down, it pulls the air in. And then when you breathe out, it ejects the air out. So that's inhaling and exhaling. Putting in air, pushing out air through the diaphragm. That's the source of your breathing. However, in modern day life, in a stressful world, you tend to breathe from your clavicle and your thorax, which is up here and up there. So it's that kind of tight thing. So we're just kind of bringing our awareness back to the source of our breath. So with Ujjayi pranayama, it's focusing on breathing through the nostril, and then we're going to come and focus on an area of our throat. Area of our throat called your vocal folds. Okay, so when you speak, you have two very thin strips of muscles called your vocal folds, and they're situated here in your neck, in your throat. Now, when you pull in air, your vocal folds open. So this is your vocal folds. They're literally like these two bits of muscles, and when you put in air, it opens like this. So it becomes a circle, and that circle is called the glottis. The circle just referring to this. The glottis is just referring to the space. So you put in the air in, your vocal folds open, and then once you finish exhaling, they close. Okay. So Ujjayi pranayama, you're slightly contracting your vocal folds, so they're just slightly opening, and then you're pulling the air in through that constriction, and you're exhaling out through that constriction. And what happens is it gives this quality to your voice where it sounds a bit kind of like a whisper. So a sensation that they call it is kind of like the sea, or like a baby snoring. So it's like you breathe in, you pull your diaphragm down, you constrict your vocal folds, and then you get this kind of sensation. And that's another way we can actually do this. If you think of the letter H is when your vocal folds are just open and they're slightly constricted. So you're going, you're pushing air out, those vocal folds are open, it's pushing through, and you get that sound. So when you do Ujjayi pranayama, that's what's happening to your vocal folds, except the air is not coming out through your mouth, it's going out through your nose. So it's a bit tricky. Another way you can do it is imagining that closing your mouth and you imagining there's like a pool of air, like a current of air in the back of your throat. Okay? So one way you can do this, we can start by going and then closing your mouth, and then just doing it through your nostrils, like so. Beautiful. So it takes a bit of practice and a bit of awareness. So think about what I've said, and we'll try doing it together. So close your mouth. You might want to start by with your mouth open, going and then just closing it. Okay? But I'll guide you. So you can keep your eyes open or closed, focusing on the back of your throat, Pulling the air in through your diaphragm. Contracting the glottis, contracting your vocal folds. And then pushing out through the vocal folds and your nostrils. So you'll know that you're doing Ujjayi when you get that quality, that sound, that snoring baby, sea foam quality sound. Okay? So let's do 10 rounds together. So we're going to start those 10 rounds. You can count the 10 rounds yourself. I'm not going to interfere, so you can find your own rhythm and go at your own pace. So always feel free to pause the video so you can do the 10 rounds and we can meet at the end here. And that is Ujjayi pranayama. I just also wanted to say, like, when it comes to yoga, if you're joining yoga and you have a lot of trauma and stress in your body, the way I came into it is that you're always kind of facing on what the yoga teacher's doing and you're trying to reach the ideal. But the reality is, when it comes to trauma and stress, the effect it has on your body, it knocks you out of sync and it knocks you like out of course with your breathing and your movements and things like that. So I always say, make it accessible to yourself. Chew the meat and spit out the bones. So whatever you can do, do. And whatever you can't do, just leave it. Because the whole point of yoga is to yoke and to meet yourself where you're at and come into yourself, not come into what you think you should be. And that really is a journey you take on your own. Like with these practices, I'm giving you the practices as tools. They're just a template. You take that template and you use that template and apply it to yourself in your inner world so you can get the most out of it. So it might be you can't do 10 breaths yet, you can only do 1 because it just seems too difficult. It might be you can only do 2. It might be that you just need to practice going and close your mouth. Okay, so break things down for yourself. Always pause the video, see if it makes sense. If it doesn't, and it's too stressful, come back to it another time. Or like I said, break it down. So if you can't do Ujjayi pranayama yet, just focus on making a and closing your mouth. Or if it's easier for you, imagine that small wind tunnel in the back of your throat and just breathing through that wind tunnel, and then focus on making it go out of your nostrils. It can be very discombobulating, but this is what yoga is all about, and I'm limited to what I can do with a YouTube video, so I'm not there with you in person. So just honestly, just take what you can. Okay, so I hope today's class was useful. Take care. Bye.